Appreciate everyone coming today. Thank you very much. And like Graham had said, I'd like to address things from a little bit different perspective, and that'd be from the manufacturing of secondary wood products. Kitchen cabinet doors, flooring, furniture, architectural millwork, that type of things. So it's a little bit different perspective. As a lot of people know, the industry's changed over the last 20 years. I'll take the hardwood industry for an example. Years ago, sawmills just used to produce random width, random length lumber. They would send it to a custom dry kiln because they didn't even have dry kilns. Then over the years, they put in dry kilns. Then the customers started asking them, would you sort it to length, to give us a couple bundles per length, give us an idea of what we're buying. That's been changed now that customers are buying one length to a bundle, and then they take it even further. Because people need to utilize them, know what their waste factor is, they want to know, can you give us a specific width for it? So they're starting to adapt to customers. I've got an example that one of the largest Amish sawmills in Pennsylvania and Ohio, Yoder Lumber Company, has added a new division called their Architectural Wood Solutions. This division specializes in meeting the precision machine requirements of millwork providers and woods for architects, designers, and builders. So there's a sawmill taking it one step further, going to value added, giving the customers a little bit more what they're looking for, but more becoming a partner with their customers. Back in the 1980s and the early 1990s, companies started going to lean manufacturing, which was a system that incorporated reducing your waste in the company and their manufacturing operations, and listening to companies and looking what they're looking for. Instead of just producing products that you thought, sitting around in a meeting, that this is what our customers want, let's fill the warehouse, then let's go out and push it out the door and sell it, and then we'll fill the warehouse again. Companies started listening to their customers and saying, what do you need? We need, instead of 100,000 of this at one time, we need 1,000 per month. We need to change a little bit different. Can you make it for us specifically so that we can have exactly what we want? And in addition to reducing companies' waste, it actually started to help them design more of a push system and a pull system. So pulling it out of the plant, giving the customer what they wanted, and companies became more efficient. What that started to do was, it also started to reduce the size of how much somebody was making at a time. So instead of producing 100,000 dowels for inventory, when you only needed 500, you would produce the 500. So your orders are getting smaller, the equipment started getting smaller, and able to more adapt to what people are looking for. 6 years ago in the United States, we had a change in the presidency, and for some reason, he decided that he didn't want small to medium-sized manufacturers to have credit lines. And it became very, very difficult for companies to operate on what they had, that they could no longer go to the bank, say, look, I've got a big order for Home Depot that they need these products and I need to buy $100,000 worth of raw materials. Can you give me a short-term loan? They said no. So what it's doing is it forced companies to operate on cash flow. And if you look at your own businesses, you might have some good customers that you've been doing business with for 15, 20 years. Then you know that so much a month they're going to do business with you. They pay you in 45 days. Then you've got some other customers that you're developing. And I've ran into a situation multiple times that I had a company call me last week that I know the owner very well and I know the potential customer. And the owner told me that I have a chance to do an order for this business once a month, and I would have to use $120,000 worth of raw materials just to fill that order on a monthly basis. The problem is my bank won't give me an extension on my credit line because it's so small that if I can't get the customer to provide the raw materials, then I have to turn the order down. And that's something that changes business an awful lot when you go from having to turn orders down. And I've been hearing things in the last 2 years that a lot of companies have had to turn an order down because they can't get the available cash flow. Coupled with now, one of the things that we receive a lot of calls to our office, people looking for products, that the Chinese government is transforming their economy from producing high volume, low value items to one that they want to be able to produce more high value items. So instead of making dowels, wedges, low value items, they prefer that the companies that they're going to subsidize in China make things like flat screen TVs, cell phones, things that have a lot more value on it. So we're starting to see some of these accounts start to bring their business back. I'd have to best guess over the last 3 years, probably 85 to 90% of the inquiries that we receive are companies that are looking to bring products back to North America. I don't know, any you seeing that in your businesses, that companies are bringing products back? Anybody getting some calls for that? Good. We're starting to see more of that. Because of that, a lot of the orders, like I said, are much smaller, and you have to change what you're doing as far as equipment goes and material. Tell you a little bit about the U.S. economy. This is kind of from the National Association of Manufacturers. This year alone, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 8.3% to date, and has fallen 12.8% since reaching its high of May 2015. According to our Federal Reserve Chair, Janet Yellen, financial conditions in the United States have recently become less supportive of growth, with declines in broad measures of equity prices, higher borrowing rates for riskier borrowers, and further appreciation of the dollar. The chair also cited risks to growth coming from abroad, particularly from decelerated activity in China. So not only is the Chinese economy slowing down, but things are starting to change in the United States. The biggest thing that I guess that kind of ties in with this is that we're seeing is that the ability to recruit and retain quality employees is probably the #1 call and the #1 problem that U.S. manufacturers are facing. And I think this is probably one of your best opportunities, in addition to the dollar being low, the Canadian dollar being low compared to the U.S. dollar, but U.S. companies are not getting a lot of people that want to come in and work in the industry. I mean, how many people in this room, can I see a show of hands, have either children in high school age or college age? Right. How many people that have their hands up have a child that says, I want to go to work in a sawmill, I want to work in the woodworking industry? I see a show of hands. So we're in the industry right now together, but we don't have any family members want to come in. And this is huge. I mean, a lot of the equipment companies, I talked to the big machinery companies, Weinig, Stiles. They are designing equipment to help automate processes, reduce the labor that's required, but they are afraid, seriously, that they're going to build a $200,000 machine that might help you reduce your employee staff by 3 or 4 people and replace them for jobs, but they're not going to have anybody to operate on it. And it's a very, very real concern. You're seeing CNC equipment go down to the smaller shops. According to the Cabinet Makers Association, they had an annual survey last year. Small to medium-sized shops are adopting CNC manufacturing technology. More than 55% said they currently have CNC equipment in the shops and plan to add more in the future, and more than 92% said that their companies use CAD design for their new product development. This is telling you that these companies are trying to automate, trying to become more efficient in what they're doing, and because of this, they're looking to outsource their products, and they're looking to be more like the automotive industry. The automotive industry is basically an assembler. They don't make a car from start to finish, including the tires and everything. They bring the parts in. And a lot of our secondary manufacturers are looking for partners that they can work with to bring parts in and help them to assemble what they're doing. And as we're seeing as the U.S. economy starts to slow down, which it is, that more and more of the marketing companies are out there trying to develop an image and help companies grow their sales. I guess when things slow down, you increase your advertising budget, try to help get more product out the door. But the types of products that people are looking for are more one-stop shopping. The calls that I'm getting, it might be somebody from a marketing firm that has a customer that's looking for something, and it's an admin person, and they were asked, can you find me something? I need a jewelry box, as an example, because we're going to put a logo on it, and Ford Motor Company is going to use that for a Christmas promotion. You ask the person, well, what do you need? It's red. Is it cherry? Well, it says cherry on the paper here. Is it cherry wood or a cherry finish? I don't know what's the difference. So these people are out there, and they're actually looking for some people they can work with and partner on some of the things that they're looking for. That's a big thing today. And I know people looking for different things that they can work with. U.S. companies on, and what I've done is I've actually brought some examples of some of the inquiries that we receive in our office. And I'd like to pass those on. Graham, can you please have some distributed and talk about it? One, just
One for you.
thanks. These are actually some inquiries that we've received in our office. And I'd just like to go over them because these are some of the types of products that people are actually looking for. The first one was, cut to size board and particle board part. This is for a pallet manufacturer that's looking for some pieces 34 by 31 by 3/4, needs to have 9 holes bored in it. It's something that they don't make, it's something a little bit different. Some CNC machine butcher block panels. These are machined, equalized length and width. They need to be routed, they need to be CNC machined, they need to be finished and packaged for shipment. So again, these people aren't looking for just basic things, they're looking for something that's a ready-to-go product. Hard maple laser engraved pizza peels. This is a company that's got a special design and ongoing business. They're trying to find someone that can do something, they pay all the programming costs. A company that's located in Ohio. A beer tap handle. I know everybody in here, a lot of Canadians like to drink beer. Well, this would have been a good inquiry. 2,500 to 5,000 pieces of a special triangular shaped beer tap handle. Need to be a certain size, it need to be machined, need to have some metal screws attached to it, and they needed them silk screened. So it's something that they're looking for their customers, it's an actual product, but again, it's showing you a little bit on some of the things that companies are looking for. A maple and walnut cutting board needs to have a certain pattern to it. It needed to be machined. They wanted it packed and shipped, ready for shipment for UPS. So it's something that companies are looking for a little bit. Boot trees. Company called me. They're looking for a boot tree. It looked like a wooden ankle. The lady didn't have any idea what type of wood it was, so she had to send me a picture of it to try to figure it out, but they had a customer willing to pay for it to help increase their sales. So those are some of the things we're getting. Knockdown shelves units, shadow boxes, 12,000 pieces of a little miniature children's chair. It was going to be used from a promotional item, but they were looking for someone who could actually make that for them, ship them to California so they can go in all these stores. Wooden handles, special patterns, 250 pieces of 10 different patterns of a profile, like a leaf, flower, petal, tree outline, things like that. So that what I was trying to get at a little bit is that products that people are looking for, they're highly machined, that most of these people are looking for one-stop shopping, that they want to be able to have something that they can provide to their customer. People that are looking for generic items, molder blanks, dowels, they've already got their suppliers, and most of those people are just shopping price, that they're trying to save on their price. But the companies that actually have a little bit more value that they can add to their product, that they can sell, that this company's willing to pay a little bit more for it, it gives you a better opportunity to increase your profit margins.
Philip,
Yeah.
question. Is
Sure.
this one of the services that your
Yeah.
organization provides to its members and non-members? How does it work?
Yeah, this is one of the things that we as an association do. We provide inquiries that people will call us. The members receive all the contact information, so it's kind of like a high-end dating service. We post the information on the members-only section, and then we also have everyone's capabilities in a database so that companies can take and provide us what they do. We will give them all the information, and the computer sends them an email message with an RFP, and they can quote on it if they like. It's all part of the service that we provide, and I'm going to touch base on some of the other things that we do. But a lot of the manufacturers today don't have a full-time sales force. I mean, in this room, a lot of you probably are fortunate that way, but most of our members are probably in the 15 to 55, 60 employee range, and they might have somebody part-time doing sales, but this is one way that by us going to trade shows, advertising, and receiving phone calls that we've been doing since 1929, that we can help people source products, and we pass those leads on to the members.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I guess one of the things that I'd like to share is that companies aren't looking for suppliers. What they're looking for is people to be partners with them. Right now, like I had mentioned, with the dollar being low, that this is a good opportunity to get in the door initially on price, but to work with the U.S. manufacturers. If there's someone in the States that has a need on something that you can provide, this is a good opportunity to get in the door with them If they can do something that you can do, that you need, work with them. If they do it better, make your partnership. That people just don't want a one-time deal on the lowest price. They're looking for somebody to work with them long-term. I don't think people pay enough attention to that, that sometimes a nickel on an item, if it doesn't get shipped on time and the quality's not there, is not what they're looking for. They're looking for a need. They're looking for somebody to make something for them because they need it for their product. So if you can partner with them and you can make your operation and say, look, this is what you need. If you need me to deliver once a week, you can do it. Then that's the kind of deal that they're looking for. I know people always ask me, where do I find out what new products are people looking for? Where can I find out what's missing in the industry? And I've got to say, I passed out on a green sheet that the woodworking trade shows and some of the trade shows that are around are an excellent opportunity to go and find out, first of all, what's new for equipment, but to walk around and see what products your competition is offering. Walk around a show and find out what's missing. You might be at a trade show and there's somebody that needs something, and you're at someone's booth and people keep asking for something, and all of a sudden, guess what? We can provide that. I mean, that's a perfect opportunity, and one of the biggest ones coming up this year is the International Woodworking Fair in Atlanta, Georgia. It's back to almost, it's full self as far as size goes. The manufacturers are there, but it's the end of August. Take a couple days, walk the trade show, run into people, have lunch. I mean, some of the best opportunities people have gotten are at lunch, walking a trade show, and you have lunch and talk to somebody and say, geez, what do you do? And this is what I do. And, well, we're looking for a new supplier. I mean, but it's an opportunity to see what's new and coming out there and what's missing, and it's a good chance for you to help increase the size of your business. I've included some of the other shows that are out there, the furniture shows, the Architectural Woodwork Institute. They have an annual meeting, but they have a show at their event as well. The Point of Purchase Display Association, the surfaces, a lot of trade shows are held in Nevada, usually in Las Vegas because it's a good draw, but they've got good convention facilities. Take some time. I know it's difficult for your business. Say, look, I can't be away for a couple days, but you know what? When you're slow and you're laying people off, that's not the time to be looking for business. It's when you're busy getting out there and developing contacts that it takes 6 to 8 months to develop a new contact and a new order from a prospect. So walk some of these shows and do some things like that. One of the things that Graham had mentioned that we as an association, the wood products manufacturers, do is that we pass out inquiries. And what I did was, before I came up, I spoke to one of our wholesaler members that he's got 13 or 14 salespeople out on the road, and they have somebody on the road physically every day. They attend all of those trade shows they attend. And I asked them for a list of some of the things that they're looking for specifically for new providers. And he told me that they are actively got some people in Canada right now looking for new manufacturers that they can work with. And these are the 4 things that they mentioned. High-end wooden jewelry type display boxes. They need them to be finished. So they're looking for somebody to do that. They're looking for a company they can work with on a regular basis that does short runs of small turnings, both a small diameter and a short length. Anybody can gear up and run 100,000 of a 3-inch turning, but they need 1,000 or 5,000 of a small one. So they're looking for supplies. Birch and maple is fine. Companies that can do CNC parts and moldings. But the companies that can do that, they're looking for, if you can finish, that's the difference on getting the business, because they need to provide their customers with a finished CNC molding. Again, it's more value added. It's not just like doing lumber. It's adding something to it that they can provide their customer for. And the last item they're looking for are fixtures for the hospitality industry. Beds, desks, armoires, and they have to be completely finished because they've got orders for these items and they're looking for suppliers. One of the things that's happening in the States that a lot of the manufacturers that people have been working with, a lot of the owners are saying, look, I'm 70 years old, I'm not making any money at this, or it's not fun anymore with the government, I'm just shutting the business down. So people that have had constant suppliers are looking for new suppliers. So again, these are 4 specific items that would be right up people's alleys that they're looking for right now. We as an association, the Wood Products Manufacturers Association, have been around since 1929. We exist for three main purposes. One, to act as an information resource. Where can people go? I need a plant manager, I have an OSHA problem, I need to find a new supplier for this. We've got a situation, a legal problem, where can I get help with it? People can call our association, we can help with that. We can put them together. If we don't have the exact answer that they're looking for right away, we will find them someone, and through our network and all the years we've been around, we've got a good grasp on where to help people find things. The second thing is leads for business. Like I mentioned, some of the leads I passed out, that if you've only got 25 employees, look at yourself. You're trying to hire people, you're trying to get raw materials, you're trying to get orders, you're trying to get the order produced, you're trying to ship it, you're trying to collect the money. Most of the time, the hardest part is a lot of woodworking people are good manufacturers, but they're not good marketers. And it's nothing against the people, but if you're in the woodworking industry, it's mostly because you love making wood items, but it's difficult for selling. So finding partners, finding items that people are looking for, that's what we try to help connect people that way. And then the third thing we do is money-saving programs. A lot of our members, we have a big insurance program, big freight program, legal advice, credit information, a lot of things like that. One of the things that a lot of our architectural millwork companies do in the States is they're getting new work for what they call LEED, L-E-E-D projects that are going in government buildings, schools, universities, anything with public money, that the products need to be Forest Stewardship Council, FSC, chain of custody certified. We actually have a group certificate program that we help people with the entire process for about half the cost of doing it on their own, but that allows them to have access and to bid on these jobs and get these jobs. Canadian companies could have the same thing. The biggest problem in Canada is the requirement that the Canadian government says that large manufacturers are anybody for $1 million and above. So that right now in the United States, companies with sales of $5 million or less can participate in a group certificate program and save money to be FSC certified. In Canada, if you have sales over $1 million, you can't be part of a group certificate, and it doesn't work. That's one thing that if a lot of the architectural millwork firms wanted to do, would be to encourage your political officials to help increase that level to match the United States, to say, look, I'm a medium-sized manufacturer, my wood sales are less than 5 million. We should have access to this program to give us opportunity to bid on some of these projects and maybe do some business in the States, because again, they are looking for that. We're always trying to do things, try to work with Fred and his group. Right now in Atlanta, and we'll make an open opportunity for anybody that's going to be down there on Thursday, August 29th, I think it is, at the IWF show at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. We're having a meet and greet session. We've had them for years. It's basically a cocktail reception, but come down and meet with some potential customers. They might be looking for some suppliers. The members get together, and they actually do a lot of business together. Just 2 hours before dinner, people can drop in and drop out, and it's sponsored, and we're trying to work with Fred to get a group down there. But you're welcome to come down if that's something that you'd like to do. The other thing that we're doing as an association is that we do the back office work, and if there's any people involved with the biomass industry, there's an 8th annual National Biomass Heating Expo, which is going to be held in Burlington, Vermont, the end of March. This is going to bring appliance dealers from Canada, around the world, Austria, Germany, Switzerland, Holland, Italy, all over the United States. They come. They're selling both commercial boilers for both residential, commercial systems, hospitals, and fuel manufacturers. Pellets, chips are all going to be in attendance there. So there are education sessions, and it's a trade show. People can come down and walk the trade show in the afternoons on Thursday and Friday, and there's no charge. So it's an opportunity. If that's something that might help increase your business, you're welcome to come down for that. And again, Fred will keep people posted. If we can put that meet and greet together for the Canadian companies you guys had mentioned, I'm more than welcome to come down. I don't know, are there any questions on any things that we do, or that how we might be able to help your business a little bit? I mean, what's the biggest problem that the people in the room are facing right now in Canada? Be curious.
Material costs.
Material costs going up. Hardwood or softwood? Both? In just recently, or in the last year or so? Okay, so if the dollar goes up, any product you're bringing in, and that's hard, and I know when it goes the other way, it goes the other way for people, but what's the difference? Probably what, almost close to 40% right now? So that makes it difficult, especially if there's an item like walnut or something that you need from the States. And again, the only thing that I could suggest is that business is slowing down for sawmills in the United States because the Chinese economy is slowing down. I had read something that 1 out of every 5 boards produced in the United States was going to China. So when their economy is good, everything was going out the door. Now that it's slowing down, mills are more willing to work with you a little bit. And I think that if you took the time to go and visit with some of your suppliers, I think that you'd see that people long-term would probably be willing to work with you a little bit better on the price. Because they're looking long-term too, because they've improved their efficiencies and they need customers to take product on a regular basis because they've got to keep their expenses and their bills paid. So I know from being at the lumber meetings that people are willing to talk a little bit, more than they were 6 months or a year ago. Any other problems that people are facing? What's the biggest thing? How is the labor situation in this area in New Brunswick? I mean, do you have any problems getting people right now? Still?
Probably easier with the slowdown in the west.
So because the west slows down, then the Maritimes becomes a little bit easier. Good. If there are no other questions, on the Fred's table, I've left some brochures. If people are interested, just a little flyer on our Wood Products Manufacturers Association. And there's also a flyer on the Biomass Conference if people are interested. Thank you very much, and thanks for taking the day to come. I know it's hard for your business, and we appreciate it. Thank you.